Most people don't realize how much energy they spend fighting their own mind. From the moment the day begins, there is already a quiet inner conversation happening, correcting, judging, pressuring, and over time that pressure starts to feel normal. It gets called discipline, it gets called being responsible, but what if that voice isn't helping growing at all? What if the reason so many people feel tired, even when life looks fine from the outside? This conversation isn't about positivity, and it's not about affirmation. It's not about pretending difficult thoughts doesn't exist. It's all about emotional intelligence, specifically how emotionally intelligent people relate to negative thoughts to control their decisions, confidence, and sense of self. Because thoughts alone doesn't shape life, but relationship with those thoughts does. Before we continue, let's ground this conversation. Hi, I am Mariah. I am based in London. I am a mother of two. I am currently completing my master's in global digital marketing, and this work sits at the intersection of real life and inner life, where responsibility, ambition, relationship, and emotional growth meet. Over time, it becomes clear that many of the struggle people face aren't a lack of motivation or intelligence, but a lack of emotional leadership. And that understanding lead to the creation of emotional intelligence chic, a philosophy centered on clarity over chaos, self-respect over self-criticism, and a calm authority in a loud world. This space is about learning how to lead the mind with intention rather than pressure. Negative thoughts feel convincing because they often sound reasonable. They don't arrive as panic, they arrive as logic. You should be further ahead by now. You are wasting your time. Other people are doing better than you, and you are not doing enough. And because those thoughts sound calm, they are trusted. But calm doesn't always mean true. Many negative thoughts aren't facts. They are pressure responses. They tend to appear when uncertainty increases, when responsibility grows, when you go through an identity shift, or even when comfort zone begins to dissolve. And the mind responds by tightening control, not to help growth, but to avoid discomfort. And many people learned early on that being hard on themselves meant being disciplined. That self-criticism is a way to stay focused, sharp, and productive. But discipline rooted in fear doesn't lead to clarity. It leads to exhaustion. And if harsh self-talk actually created growth, it wouldn't be needed to repeat himself every single day. Because real discipline is quiet, is steady, and it doesn't shout. Emotionally intelligent people don't lead themselves through pressure or shame. They lead themselves through structure and clarity. Emotionally intelligent people don't try to eliminate all the negative thoughts. They change how much authority those thoughts have. Instead of asking, how can I stop thinking this way? I want you to look at a different question. What is this thought responding to? Because every recurring thought has a trigger. Usually is a fear of uncertainty, fear of disappointed, fear of losing control, fear of outgrowing what's familiar. And the mind criticizes to regain stability. Understanding this removes the need to fight the mind and replace it with leadership. When a negative thought appears, the most effective response isn't resistance, it's curiosity. A simple question can change everything. What decision is this thought trying to avoid? It's avoiding rest, it's avoiding boundaries, it's avoiding a difficult conversation or the responsibility for being accountable. Negative thoughts often appear right before growth. They aren't warnings, they are resistance. And resistance doesn't mean stop. It means you need to slow down and choose intentionally. This pattern shows up clearly when with money and performance too. Overspending, avoiding financial decisions, staying unpaid, or playing small to feel safe and also to don't be a threatening for the people in your life. These aren't financial problems, they are emotional regulation problem. Money like life responds to calm decision making and not emotional pressure. And people who are emotionally regulated tolerate discomfort longer, make fewer reactive choices, and plan with clarity rather than fear. Emotional intelligence isn't abstract, it shapes outcomes and is not emotional suppression. It's strength with no self attack. Because I believe true power is regulated, it pauses before reacting, it observes before responding, and it corrects without cruelty. It doesn't argue with the mind, it leads it. And this is what emotional intelligence chic represents, a way of living that values composure over chaos, clarity over pressure, and self-respect over self-criticism. Negative thoughts doesn't mean something is wrong. They often appear when growth is happening faster than the nervous system feels ready for. And when life is asking for more, when familiar identity begins to shift, when autopilot is no longer enough. Because emotionally intelligent people don't panic when discomfort appears. They pause, they observe, and they ask, what is this moment asking of me? Because growth doesn't always feel empowering. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable, and sometimes it does feel lonely. But discomfort doesn't mean that the path is wrong. Very often it means self-leadership is beginning. And there is a version of everyone that doesn't need pressure to stay disciplined. A version that can reflect without self-attack. A version that can adjust without breaking itself. And that version moves calmly, chooses intentionally, and understands that clarity grows in stillness. And that is emotional intelligence in practice. And this is emotional intelligence chic. And if you are drawn to this way of thinking, you already know what to do.